So basically, like, I've taken like everything that I've found out about psychology and compiled it into one sheet of paper. I've taken courses, I've read books. This is honestly, like, when I tell you, like, one of the most powerful things that I've ever used in my life. Like, I use it when I'm, analyzing sales scripts, when I'm looking at ads. I'd say like 80% of the major tendencies and biases and desires that humans have can be pretty much summarized at a high level from this piece of paper. Internet marketers use these tricks and psychological things to manipulate you and get you to watch their videos, to buy their shit. If you've ever wondered, why is this sales guy that I'm watching so persuasive? This politician, why do they have a cult following? This is why. These psychological tactics that they use, this is exactly what they're doing to manipulate your mind, to get you to watch whatever they want you to watch. So, taking a look at the cheat sheet that I made, you might think like, oh, Enes, like this is basic stuff. Like, obviously, humans experience happiness and sadness. Like, way to fucking go. Like, you're a genius, clearly. But really, there's more to it. Like, you really look at this stuff, it's not meant to be mind-blowing stuff. Human psychology is supposed to be simple. It's in your brain already, dummy. The purpose of this is really to look at how people are using these things in conjunction with each other in order to get you persuaded or get you affected emotionally. And I'm going to go through them. Really, we're going to go through the emotions, the desires, and the four elements of connection. But the most important thing at the end of the day is these primal tendencies. That's the juicy stuff. 7 basic emotions that humans experience. Happiness, like joy, humor. Sadness, like anxiety, depression. Fear, anger, surprise, anticipation, and disgust, right? Basic stuff. 6 desires. So the desires, I think Tony Robbins came up with this idea. 6 desires. People want comfort, like people want to feel comfortable, they want a nice cozy house, watch Netflix, feel comfortable. Some people want discomfort, the opposite of that. Some people I want to go out and I want to travel, I want to see new things, I want to, go skydiving and do crazy things. Status, some people just want to go and, they want to show off, they want to be the cool guy, they want, the pretty nails and the nice hair, and they want, the cool watch, the nice car. They want to be, the person that everybody looks up to. Some people are driven by connection. They want to feel like they're connected with other human beings or with other groups of human beings. Some people just crave growth. They go to conferences, they're reading books, they're constantly watching videos, trying to improve themselves, working out, going to the gym, constantly just making themselves better at whatever they're trying to do. Helping others. This one's rare. Rarely do you see people who actually want to help other people. Few people in the world who actually work at volunteer, organizations, who work at homeless shelters. Rarely do you ever have people who actually want to help other people. So then you get to the 4 elements of connection. And again, like you're thinking, like you might think to yourself, like, okay, Enes, these are basic. Like, obviously, you need to like somebody to have an emotional connection with them. Like, no shit. Like, obviously. Okay, but it's important to notice, the different aspects of it, so that when you see, for example, in movies, people using these things to try to, manipulate your mind to get you to have an emotional connection with the character, okay, like, why do I have an emotional connection? Did they build trust? Did they build respect? 99% of the time, they do build these things. So the main elements of liking somebody, you gotta be funny or fun, relatable, relative, smile, use the other person's name, and be generous or otherwise provide value to the person. Trust, on the other hand, you could think of trust as like opening yourself up and being vulnerable. If you are going out of your way to show a person your weaknesses, that person's going to perceive you as being more trustworthy, because why would this person be showing me all of his weaknesses? I could hurt him. He must have a lot of trust in me, so I should probably have trust in him as well. Touch is very powerful. If you use touch, you always notice like some of the relationships where you don't exactly have that level of connection with the person. It's probably because you don't touch them a lot. It's kind of distant. There's like a distance between you and them. And it's a physical distance, but it's also like a mental distance. Like you don't have that connection built. Touch is huge. Hard honesty. If you tell them something that makes you look bad, that's going to make them trust you a whole hell of a lot more. Respect. You might think people don't care about respect. Oh, I don't need to respect. I just need to like them or trust them. It's not true. You have to respect them. Think about the people who you have the best relationships with. You definitely respect those people. All right, so now let's get to the juicy stuff, right? Moment you've all been waiting for. Okay, the primal tendencies. Okay, this is the stuff that you guaranteed will see when you're watching sales videos, when you're being manipulated by advertisements, all this stuff. They always use this stuff. You will see this constantly, and you probably already understand intuitively most of this stuff, but you never really put two and two together, like, oh, like this is what they're using. If you ever listen to Charlie Munger has something called the 25 cognitive biases, right? I used a lot of his stuff to make this list, but I also added a couple other things that I thought were incredibly important. So start off with the first one: avoiding deception, cheating, and non-reciprocation. Guys, this is the most important thing when you're looking at primal tendencies. Human beings are incredibly hardwired to pay attention to avoiding deception, cheating, and non-reciprocation. When you look at human relationships between one person and another person, it's almost always a reciprocal relationship. If a person is not engaging in a reciprocal relationship, it means the other person's taking advantage of them. You're going to hear about it. All of your friends, when they're talking about another person, what do they say? Oh, they did me wrong. Oh, they're taking advantage of me. My boss is doing this. Why does Andrew Tate say, oh, the Matrix is trying to control you. They're trying to control your minds. It's because they're using the primal tendency in your brain to look out for people taking advantage of you and people cheating you. And that's why you're so super affected when people talk about this stuff. The next one is joining a tribe and opposing an enemy. Most people know about this one. This one's pretty straightforward. People have a tendency to want to join into a group of people. I think Democrats and Republicans, socialists and capitalists, us versus them, this mentality. Exclusive access to scarce resources and secrets. This one is also incredibly powerful. Humans have a tendency to want to gravitate towards things that only they know and other people don't know. If you have some sort of exclusive rights or access, think about like if a millionaire let you on their jet, or if you have some sort of secrets that only you get access to. Like if your friend comes up to you and says, hey bro, I got this secret for you, but you will not believe. I didn't tell anybody, just you. And you're like, oh man, that's interesting. People use this stuff all the time. The next one is control. So everybody wants to feel a little bit in control. People don't want to feel like the whole world is controlling their lives and they're just a feather in the wind. You go to work, your boss tells you what to do, the government can take your house at any time, you have no control over anything in your life. This is a bad feeling. People don't want to feel like this. People don't want to feel like they have no capability of doing anything. People want to be like, okay, I'm empowered. I can do whatever I want to do. Nobody is controlling my life or telling me how I have to live my life. The next one, certainty. If you're looking at sales videos, they're never like, oh, maybe it'll work. Maybe, I don't know. They're like, it's gonna work. Period. It's gonna work, guaranteed. I'll literally bet my money on it. It's gonna work. I promise you it's gonna work. The next one is simplicity. Think about Apple. Apple loves to use simplicity. Any luxury brand is like obsessed with simplicity. You think about like how clean an iPhone is. Think about how clean the lock screen is. Think about like how your brain interprets simplicity. It likes the feeling of not having to work very hard to understand something. Authority. Humans are built to respect authority. You're gonna see if somebody says, I could teach you how to dunk like Jordan. You're gonna be like, oh, Jordan knows how to dunk. Maybe I should listen. Michael Jordan knows a little thing or two about basketball. The next one, avoiding loss. This one I'd say is, if not more powerful, equally as powerful as avoiding deception. Avoiding loss, humans are hardwired to avoid loss. Losing your girl, losing time. Like if I told you, you got about 5 years left in your prime, and after that, you're pretty much done. That's gonna stress you the fuck out, man. That shit. It hurts deep. Why does it hurt? What makes it hurt? You're losing time, you're losing resources, you're losing energy. All of that stuff, it's painful, it hurts. You don't want to lose anything, especially things that you highly value. The next one, avoiding pain. Any pain, even if it's little, even if it's a small thing, even if I have to just think a little bit harder, or if I have to work a little bit harder, that's painful. If I have to go out of my way a little bit, that's painful. Even a little bit of pain in your mind, even if you think like, oh, it's not that much, it's not a big deal, you're gonna avoid doing it. Next one, stories. Humans are hardwired to like stories. Why do humans like stories? Because they touch on every other aspect of human psychology. They touch on all the 7 emotions, ups and downs in human emotions. They touch on the desires, and they also touch on connection. That's what makes stories, is because you have a connection with the character. If you didn't have a connection with the character, you can give a shit. They could die, they could fail their journey. You don't care. You don't have any connection with them. What do you care? They're just they're not even real. They're just fake characters. What do you care about? That's what makes the story a story, is because you feel a connection to the person. And how do you feel a connection to the person? How do they get you to feel the connection? They use things like, trust, and respect. I read a book. It's called Save the Cat. It's about storytelling, right? It's a book about storytelling. And the premise of the book is that you have to include a scene in the beginning of the story where the character does something heroic, like saving a cat, or does something at least to get you to like the character. And the purpose of that is so that you can actually build a connection, an emotional connection with that character. If you never build a connection with that character, you're never going to feel connected to that character. So you're not going to care about anything that happens in the rest of the story. It doesn't matter. You have no connection to the character. So the whole point is that you build a connection to the character so that the story means something. Next thing, fairness. Fairness is incredibly important. Humans are hardwired to seek some sort of level of fairness, and it kind of ties back to reciprocation. The next thing, truth. People are always curious. They always want to discover the truth, especially if it's hard truth. I was, shocked recently, learning that people actually do want to know hard truths. People want to know truths, I'd say in general, but especially hard truths, because hard truths are real truths. Some truths, it's like, okay, everybody knows that. I'm not really discovering anything. I'm not learning anything. But when I tell you a hard truth, maybe you were ignoring it. Maybe I told you, your life is shit. And you're like, yeah, my life is shit. I wasn't paying attention to it. And now you just showed me this truth that I was oblivious to this whole time. People want to feel love and they want to avoid loneliness. That's just, I don't really have to explain that one. Social proof. People want proof from other people to do something. That's why you'll see all the time marketers, they'll use social proof. They'll use testimonials, reviews. That's why Amazon always has the reviews, number of reviews. That's social proof right there. Bam. Competitive. Humans have a natural tendency to be competitive. Humans have a tendency to also avoid inconsistency. If I told you, tell me about how happy you are, and then you had to go and you had to write a whole story about how happy you are and how you had the best day, it was the best thing ever, and then I told you, go and now write a story about how sad you are and how mad you are, you would have trouble writing that story because it's inconsistent. You just spent 5, 10, 15 minutes telling me about how happy you are, and now you have to think about how sad you are. I mean, it's inconsistent. It doesn't feel right. Your body, your mind doesn't enjoy thinking like that. You want to be straight line, consistent the whole time. Reciprocation and guilt. This ties right back into the first point. Avoiding deception, it works on the reverse side. If you are deceiving somebody else, that's going to make you feel bad. So that's it. That's 80% of human psychology. And if you want to download this, it's going to be down in the description. You can get access to this sheet. I'm telling you, use this when you're watching sales videos, and watching marketing videos. It's going to help you out a ton.